Good afternoon, friends. So, in this video, we are going to briefly discuss about various systems and components involved in diesel power plant. Diesel power plant is a very important power plant. It is used in many places like hospitals, theaters, auditoriums, VIP functions, colleges, and many other places where we want emergency power supply. And also, it requires when the power plant, regular power plant like a hydroelectric or steam power plant or nuclear power plant going for shutdown, that time they will use the diesel power plant for as a standby. It may have the capacity around 50 megawatt, not more than that, since the cost involved for producing unit power is costlier than other power plants. So in the power plant, this layout we are seeing now. As usual, we are seeing the diesel generators. It also consists of diesel engine. The major component is a diesel engine. For diesel engine, we have to supply the fuel, that is the diesel, that will be supplied from the storage tank, huge capacity tank of around 200-300 liters. Then it will be supplied to the day tank. Then it will go to the engine through the injection system. And the lubrication oil has to be supplied for the moving parts. Cooling system should be provided to reduce the heat generated while diesel engine is in operation, and the exhaust gas to be removed and let out to the atmosphere, and cooling water circuit will be there. All those things are the combination of diesel power plant. So here we are going to list out what are the different systems employed in diesel power station or diesel power plant. We can classify the systems into two categories: mechanical equipments and electrical and control equipment. In the mechanical equipment, we have fuel supply system, air intake system, exhaust, cooling, lubrication, and prime mover. Here prime mover is nothing but diesel engine. In the electrical and control equipment, we have alternator, exciter, transformer, switchgear, and control room, that is panel room to control the fluctuation, and alternator for generating power, and a transformer to step up the electricity generator. These are the general equipment used in any diesel power plant. First, we look at the mechanical equipment of diesel power plant. As I have told in the beginning, fuel system, air intake system, exhaust system, cooling system, lubricating system, and prime mover. In the fuel system, as we have seen in the picture, the fuel will be supplied from the fuel storage tank, where we can have up to 500 liters of diesel. It will be going to the strainers and filters to filter any unwanted particles, and it will be going to the fuel transfer pump. From there it will go to the daily tank. In the ordinary tank, it will be fixed at a height and it will be flowing through by means of gravitational force. Then it will be going to the fuel injection pump, and as usual, fuel will be injected into tiny particles. This is about the fuel system. In the air intake system, we have the air which is mandatory for combustion to take place, and for start also we need the air. It will be supplied through the air filters, and air will be supplied by means of pipes. The atmospheric air will be sucked in and filtered, and it will be supplied to the engine through pipes. The exhaust system, it is a system which is very much essential for removing the exhaust gases from the engine. It will be connected by means of the muffler and through the catalytic converter. After treating the exhaust gas, it will be let out to the atmosphere. Here we are going to have silencer also to reduce the noise generated during the engine operation. Cooling system. Cooling system is very much essential for absorb the heat generated while engine is in operation. So by supplying the water around the engine cylinder heads and other components, moving components, the heat will be removed from the engine, so that engine component life will be enhanced and more efficiency can be attained. The wear and tear will be reduced. For this, we will be having the cooling tower. From the cooling tower, we will be getting cold water. Next system is lubrication lubricating system is very important. Wherever we have the moving components, there will be wear and tear, and there we have to supply some greasy like structure like sticky oil, that is called lubricant, which is having around 40 to 30 to 40 centistrokes of viscosity, so that it will protect the wear and tear of the moving components. For this, we have to have separate lubricant oil tank. We need oil pump, oil filter, and oil cooler. We have to cool the lubricant oil also, since it will be circulated among the engine components. Again, it will be uh, returned, so that the returning oil will be having some heat. That heat has to be removed. For that, we have oil cooler. Last one is prime mover. That is nothing but the heart of the power plant diesel engine, and we have the engine start system. Diesel engine working principle, you know that 2-stroke and 4-stroke, and normally we will be having 4-stroke diesel engine. 2-stroke engines are used in airships. To start the engine, we have separate starter and air intake system also there for starting the engine. So this is about mechanical equipment required for diesel power plant. We will see one by one. Here we have the fuel supply system. The fuel will be supplied through the oil filter, strainer, through by means of pump to the day tank. If the oil is overflowing, it will come back to the fuel storage tank. This is the air intake and exhaust system. In the exhaust system, the exhaust gas coming out from the diesel engine will be supplied through the catalytic converter and the silencer, and after that only it will be let out to the atmosphere. It will be treated before letting to the atmosphere. That is engine exhaust. Cooling system. The heat released, that is what they are saying is the heat balance sheet. If you are doing the heat balance sheet for diesel engine, 25% of the heat is lost to the surroundings, to the cooling. The efficiency of the diesel power plant will be around 30%. Nearly 70% is going as waste. The cooling water absorbs nearly 25% of the heat generated inside the cylinder. It is mandatory, even though it is wastage, but it is mandatory. Otherwise, the engine moving components will be worn out, and we have to awfully replace the engine cylinders, engine liners, rings, all those things we have to keep on changing. For that, we need a cooling system. For that, we need a cooling tower, heat exchanger. For oil cooler also, we have to supply the cooling water. That also included in the cooling system for cooling the diesel engine as well as cooling the lubricating oil. The lubricating system, as we have discussed, here we have the separate lubricating oil tank. Oil will be supplied to the moving components. Again, it will be come back to the tank so that it will be filtered, and this oil will be cooled. Before supplying to the engine, it will be cooled and filtered. And impurities is there, that all impurities will be removed by means of filter and strainer. Engine start system. In larger units, compressed air is used for starting. Air at high pressure is admitted to a few of the cylinders. If it is 7 cylinders or 3 cylinder, hot-end cylinders will be supplied with high pressure air, causing them to act as a reciprocating air motors to turn over the engine shaft. Fuel is admitted to the remaining cylinders, which start the engine under its own power. Please understand this concept. In a multi-cylinder engine, to crank, we can say that to crank the engine, few cylinders, we have to supply the high pressure air, so that it will act as a reciprocating motor. It will drive the piston down. When the piston is at top dead center, by pressurized air, the piston will move down, so the crankshaft will start rotating. In alternate cylinders, fuel will be injected. When it starts rotating and fuel also injected, the engine will start quickly. This arrangement is to rotate the engine initially while starting until firing starts and the unit runs with its own power. When the combustion is initiated, the air supply will be stopped. The compressed air will not be required further. To start the engine, to start the multi-cylinder engine, we need air intake system. That is the compressed air, high pressure compressed air will be supplied to the alternating cylinders, so that the piston will be reciprocated. Piston will be moved, or piston will be cranked. And other engines will be having the fuel through the fuel injector at the high pressure. and the injection will be there. After that, combustion will be initiated. Once the engine gets started, this air intake system will be stopped. This is very important engine start system. So the compressed air will be supplied for starting. High pressure air is admitted to the fuel cylinders, causing them to act as a reciprocating air motors to turn over the engine shaft. Like in the motorcycles, we are cranking now. In similar way, instead of cranking manually, we are supplying the compressed air. That is called engine start system. This is another one, exhaust system. See, look at this. We have diesel particulate filter. Since we don't want to let out the particulate matter to the atmosphere, otherwise it will spoil the environment. For that, we are treating the exhaust gas coming out from the engine cylinders by means of diesel particulate filter, and it will be supplied to uh, catalytic converter. There, NOx and other unwanted acids will be removed, and purified air alone will be let out to the atmosphere. To protect the environment, we are having this engine exhaust system. We have the particulate matter as well as catalytic converter with ammonia and NOx mix to convert the nitrous oxide into nitrogen and water. The advantages of this diesel power system is we can have this engine as a standby system, but the disadvantage is running cost is high, lubrication is high, maintenance is also high. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.